I am the West Man. This is my one stall garage. And today, we're working on the front half of the rat rod chassis. Okay, so I had to take my camera inside and let it charge up for a little bit and cool down. It's pretty warm today, but it had only been on for like 5 minutes before it said that my camera was overheating. Sun is starting to set. It's cooled off a little bit. Kind of muggy though, because we've had a lot of rain and it's supposed to rain again. It rained earlier today and I kept working. I got those grounded down, and on these two spots up here, I just went ahead and squirted a little spray bomb on there, because it was just bare metal after I got done. On this spot right here, if you guys remember, it had this plate on it. And this plate was on up here, and that was a factory thing. Not sure what its intention was, but that's where it was. Cut that off, smoothed it all up. There wasn't one on this side, but I did get that all stripped down. This is where the original transmission crossmember went. Bolted on this side, on the side, and then on this side down through. So I'm guessing it's gonna be about in the same spot, because my S10 Blazer that my son now has, that's not an S10 Blazer. That's an S10 pickup truck. My S10 pickup truck, its transmission crossmember is in the same spot. And my son's S10 Blazer, it's also in the same spot. Both of them small block Chevys, and that's what this is gonna be. So I got it propped up there. I'm thinking it's gonna be in there somewhere. So we're not gonna worry about that right now. I'm gonna set it back down, get it lined up. Now, originally, the wheelbase was 74 inches. And we know that we're gonna lengthen it, but we don't know exactly how much yet. We're gonna have to just see where the frame best fits for itself. We're gonna have to put not only the transmission cross member, but we're gonna have to put a cross member in the frame as well somewhere once we get it all together. The cross member, I'm sure up front will be good up there, and then back in this new part of the frame, we'll have to put one back here as well. Now, I'm curious, maybe I should try to find factory transmission cross member for this thing. It might be just the best way to go. If I have to alter it a little bit, I can, but I just think that might be the ticket. And then I'm gonna have to put something back here. Now I have cross member up here, and it's standing back there in the corner, and it's got the cutout in it. Maybe we can use that back here if we get a regular transmission cross member, and we end up using that as the transmission cross member. We'll come up with something else back here. Now I was looking at that old set of ladder bars down there on the floor, and I'm thinking maybe if I have to come up with something new for a cross member, maybe I can cut those, put the fat ends together, skinny ends on the side, and where they're wide at the end, maybe that's where the drive shaft could run through, and use that as a cross member. So we will see. Anyway, we're gonna get back to it. I'm gonna set this down, kind of get it lined up, and start taking some measurements, find out where it wants to be. Maybe start cutting some blocks to put in there. Now I've got some 2x4 tubing over there, which is what I use to make the back half of the chassis. We're probably gonna try to use some of that to sandwich in between the outside of these frame rails to the inside of these ones. Who wants easy? And then I guess we'll measure after we get it where we want it and we'll find out how much it grew. Whatever it's gonna be, you're gonna find out the same time I do. That's what we know. Okay, that's it. See, I'm thinking about something right in there. I mean, I can shorten it up a little bit more, but this mating surface along to this edge of the frame on both sides, it's pretty flat right in there. Obviously, we're this way and we're a little bit crooked, so this is really where the fun begins, trying to get it all lined up, measuring it 10 ways from Sunday. I'm not really dancing, kind of like the floss or something, but I don't know how to do that either. Okay, while I start getting this moved around a little bit, I'm going to switch you over to a little time lapse. When I get it kind of where we're needing it and getting some measurements done, I'll bring you back and show you what's going on. But essentially, got to get the tape measure out, kind of get this squared up. Once we get it squared up, and we'll have to tweak that some as we get ready to weld because we'll be moving it around. We'll take measurements, and then we'll probably have to lift this up to weld the first piece onto one half, that kind of thing, then put it back together and get it squared up again. It's a process, a little bit time consuming, but it's not that big of a deal really. I've got angle finder, got a level, got a square, got a tape measure. I even have right here, I've had this for I don't know, most of my life probably. I've probably had it longer than over half of my life. Okay, anyway, probably about that long or so when I got it. Little old soapstone for chalking stuff off, making some marks. Anyway, that's, again, enough rambling. So what I have decided, I'm going to cut 2 of these 2x4-inch blocks, which one I already cut. 7 inches long. I'm going to use these. Oh, it's hot. It is hot. I don't know, it's getting pretty dark outside. I don't know if you can see, but it has started raining pretty good. So I'm not going to go and run my 220 out from the house this evening in the rain because it's been thundering and a little bit of lightning. So just gonna get some stuff ready and then hope tomorrow get back out here and work on it some more. But I'm gonna run about 7 inches of that block in between. Put that in there as the filler to weld those two together. Now, I'm probably not perfect on there right now on my width because I moved it. But that's gonna get me in there. Once I get that in there, I'm gonna tack these to the inner frame rail because it's perfectly square, straight. It's the same stuff. Should be able to get a nice bite on there because these have a little bit of curve in it. Then, once I get that welded onto here, I will be able to line up the front half. It'll be snug. It'll stay more in place. Start really getting it ready to put together. Now, I had 101 inches from the top of the shock to the back of this bar right here, this block, on both sides. I had 109 inches from the corner of that back support up to this hole crosswise, both sides. I did, I don't know, 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 different measures crosswise, and that's what we're looking for, is in the X measurement to make sure they're the same on both sides. If you're going to exit this way and it's 30 inches, when you exit the opposite way, it's still got to be 30 inches. No matter what it is, from center It's the cross that is going to get you straight and lined up. I went ahead and measured and put some chalk line out on the ground, and this is not a perfect measurement there. I was just trying to get a close idea of what that was going to be, and if you can see that there, that is 92 3/4. I am probably going to try when I get that together to suck that up to about a minimum of 92, but it'd be great if I could get it down to 90, because 92, that is 18 inches. I really didn't want to go 1.5 feet. I'd mentioned that a couple of videos ago that that might be what it goes to, and I don't want that. The reason I don't want to go that much is because from the firewall of the tub to the engine, I had just enough room before to get it in around the back of the HEI distributor. Lengthen that 1.5 feet, I'm going to have, you know, over 1 foot of transmission sticking out beyond the firewall. If I end up having to do something like that, I might have to build like a box that comes out some on the front of the firewall, and in which case, if I did that, and I don't know if you can see that, but if I did something like that, maybe I could cover up, you know, the master cylinder, all of those things, any wiring that's coming out of the front of the body. Maybe I could use that 1.5 feet for that, you know, or 1 foot, whatever it turns out to be, and have that cover all that up. Then I'd still have all the room in the world, I guess, for all that stuff, but I just don't know how great it's gonna look having a, you know, over 1 foot of transmission sticking beyond the firewall. Rambling. I'm gonna bring you back over here, put you back on the tripod for just a minute. We're gonna measure out that other 7-inch block, cut that off. Man, if you want to see some really good fab work, I watch Puddin's Fab Shop on YouTube a lot. That guy's a great fabricator. Really, really great. And funny. You guys hear the thunder coming through the camera? And tap that just a hair. That piece of steel doesn't know whether it's a claw hammer or a ball peen. Get the right hammer. I like it there. Blow them sparks towards the back and you'll be able to see what's going on. 7 inches. That stuff would be like a razor blade. That stuff catch you and it just tear you up. Did you miss me? Okay, now I promise that I am not going to put my frame together with duct tape. However, I did duct tape those 2 blocks in there, just about where they're going to be. I want to pull these back, get an idea of what it looks like. Like I said, I can't weld tonight. Actually, rain's pricking up pretty good. Now my fan's getting wet. That's a nice fit. Nice! Oh, that's what I hit. A block. And then I just quit rolling all of a sudden. Yeah, see, I'm thinking something about like that. Guys, I got that block cleaned up, got the frame cleaned up, got it measured out and clamped on there. It is even, both ends, flat straight across the board. So we are going to, I'm going to just tack it on and get rid of these clamps and then go ahead and burn it in. If you guys are not wearing eye protection, not covering up your clothes or anything like that, you want to get out that now. Yeah! My joy, old chap, I think you got it. Get that out of my ass. Now what I'm going to do is I got this on here so when I get these both on, we can slide the two frames together and we're going to weld this onto this one. Hopefully that puts you guys in the ball game and I don't ruin my camera with the spark. Ow, right on the arm. Still a little bit warm. About where it's at. Now I know that I'm not square yet, but about where I'm at. And then the frame, you know, really dips in, which is where the cross member goes. So I can't come back this way much farther than where I'm at, or I'm gonna get into the way of my transmission mount. So about there. Again, I know it's not squared yet. I haven't taken those measurements and all that, but there it is, about like that. Now that would probably, it looks pretty good, but if that had some Jack Daniels and Pepsi or something, then it might even be way better. Good Lord, she said. So just really close to just at 93 inches. You're probably sideways. So I was 74 inches before. That is 19 inches. When I lengthen that by 19 inches, you know, my distributor is going to be out here. I'm going to have half of the transmission showing, gonna be sticking out. Is it gonna look really goofy? I don't know. Is it gonna look really bad? Or so out here behind the shed, I have a one-piece fiberglass tilt front end. Now this came with the Jeep when I bought it, and I have no intentions of using that. I really wanted to have an open motor. My son got me a grill. On that front end, if I cut, say, 19 inches off of the base of that, or if it was up on the Jeep off of the cowl from that, and just took, you know, that 19 inches from like here down, put that on the front part of the tub, that would take up that 19 inches. And if I closed off the front of that, it would also close off the master cylinder, any wiring that was up there. It would just be kind of boxing off the front part of that flywheel. I have no idea what I'm doing today. It would block off the first, you know, 19 inches of the firewall. Would that work? I mean, just gonna have to wait until you get the motor in it and the body on it to find out. But grass is getting a little tall, I think. Probably come out here and mow. I want to work on the rat rod. Westman in the weed. Huh. Yep. Okay. That's what I'm thinking right now anyway. Basic measurement, basic measurement. We'll start getting a few measurements and start squaring this chassis up. Okay, I think I'm going to set you up right there while I take some measurements and look around at things. Did slide this together a little bit. Got a couple of inches, but I think I'm gonna have to cut the ends of these outer frame rails down, and I'm gonna have to lower this side down this way just a little, well, the outside, both of them, until they're level with the inside piece. Also, I believe that I'm probably gonna have to take these blocks and cut them top and bottom so I can spread those out and bring them up against this outer frame rail and then put a piece in here to fill that. I believe that's the kind of things I'm gonna have to do, but I'm gonna take a few measurements. I'm going to put you up on high speed. Okay, I think I have a game plan. I took a bunch more measurements, shortened it up again. From this point to the top of the shock tower, shock itself, I guess, I've got it down to 8 feet on the nose. And what I'm gonna do, where it's touching right there, and that's at 8 feet, I've got this chalked off. See where this part sticks beyond my block, and then it's right up against that ladder bar mount. So what I'm gonna do, and I've got it chalked off, I'm gonna cut this piece of the frame off, that little chunk of the outer frame. And I'm also gonna put a slice, you can see that chalk mark right there, out, top and bottom, so I can fold this part of the box out. I'm gonna split it on the bottom as well. Pull this part out so I can weld it solid onto the frame, and then I'll cut a triangular piece to put in there, top and bottom, to box that off. Then, once that's over here, I'll box it here, up against the frame and across there, and the same thing in the back, I'll cut a piece to box that whole piece in. Same thing on the other side. From here, on that chalk line, out, I'm gonna cut that. Now the frame bends down here, and it doesn't do it over there until further up. I'm gonna slice this box, fold this back against the frame. Same thing, I'm probably gonna have to trim some of that off because where it starts to bend, this is taller. And it's square across here, so I'll be cutting this piece off, and I've got that marked down there too. Then once I fold this over and weld it solid to the frame, then I'll cut that triangular piece again and fill that in, and the same back here, I'll box that. So I'm gonna pull them apart so I can get access and cut those off with the plasma cutter. And then once I get it back together, I'm also gonna split these. Then when I slide it back together, get my measurements again, I will probably tack just one side, good tack, so it doesn't move. And then any wee little bit of wiggling that I have to do, adjust that on the other side to make it match. Whichever side I tack first, clamp that down and weld that. Right now it is square. I know that you guys couldn't see it if it was a 1/4 inch off or 3/8 off or 5/16 off or whatever it might be off. You guys would never be able to see that small amount the way it is. Right now it is square. So I'm gonna pull it apart, slit those where I need to, cut those ends off, get ready to start putting it together. Again, I believe that once I split those, box them in, I'm gonna have to weld the top, and then probably what I'll do is like I did before, I'll probably bring the engine crane out because I'm certain that once I weld the top and get the ends boxed, that it'll be way more than solid enough that I can pick the side up. Now I'll use that body mount again, and I'll pick that up so I can stand the frame right up, lean it right over on these wheels so I can get the underneath of it. It's just horrible to try to weld upside down. That's what we're gonna do. And you know why? Because I'm a West man. I do what I want. All right, guys, I got those cut off the plasma cutter, straightened up those edges. This is what I cut off, maybe making decent wheel chalk, huh? What do you think about that? So anyway, got those cut off, smoothed up here and here, used a plasma cutter. Kind of struggled on that one at first. I forgot that on a second generation S10, I'm not sure about the first generations like mine, but I know that on the second generation S10s, the frames are in two pieces. They have the front part of the frame, and then, say that's standard cab, but it's a long bed. So they put a long bed rear half. They slide the two together, smaller piece slides inside this, and then it's welded. If it's on the assembly line and it's a short bed, regular cab, short bed, take the regular cab front, the short bed rear half, they slide them in, weld them, and it's a short bed chassis. Same thing with the, like an extended cab or a 4-door. Front half is longer, back half is shorter. So instead of having 8 different frames, they just have different subsections of frames, and then they put them together. You can actually see, if you look, and if you can't, I'll show you. The intersection that's inside the outer. It'd be a C channel. Same thing with this over here, C channel. Those are slid together and then they weld them. I didn't know that until I cut this thing apart when I got it as just a bare complete S10 chassis. I didn't remember that, and when I started laying the plasma cutter on there, I was wondering why it's not cutting so good. I didn't realize I was cutting well over a 1/2 inch thick, or not 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch thick steel. Anyway, got that cut off, cleaned up. My battery only has 30% left on it, so I'm going to take it in and plug it in for a while. While it's charging, I'm going to get this back down on the ground. I'm probably going to cut those pieces that I showed you with the zip cut. But before I start doing anything crazy, I will make sure I've got some battery life, and I'll bring you guys back for that. Wanted to show you this. I'm going to straighten up in here, and I'll bring you guys back as soon as I get a little battery charge. All right, so I'm back. I've got Ginger helping me out for a minute. I measured this 10 ways to Tuesday. Literally, I started here last Tuesday. And I have, from back there to the top of the shock mount, I have 8 feet. See that, Ginger? 8 feet. And it just so happens that on the other side, the same spot to the same spot. Ginger, come around this way. I have 8 feet. Right on the arrow, 8 feet. I also, we have to do a diagonal measurement to make sure that it's square. It can be 8 feet and 8 feet, but it can be crooked. And we don't want that. We don't want it to dog track on down the road. So I'm going to measure from the same spot back here. So it just shut off. It just shut off. So anyway, we're going to get a diagonal measurement as well. Back up to the shock on the opposing side. It is 100.5. So swap me sides again, Ginger. We're going to do the same thing from the other side. And we are at 100.5. My rat rod chassis is square. Crossways, lengthways. Now, these are just basic measurements, what I'm going to say right now. My wheelbase, it appears to me, has grown about 18 or 19 inches. If you look over here at this engine, before, the distributor sits right here. And I had enough room to get between the engine and the firewall to make timing adjustments or whatever. But now that it's gotten 18 inches longer, or 19, the firewall is going to be way back here. So the engine is going to stick out. We'll have to deal with that. We'll have to deal with the matter, babes.
I hit my chin on that thing.
That's a rear end.
Yeah, well,
that is a yoke. That is a pinion right in there. Oh, look at that, wiggles. Backing out. Anyway, we'll deal with that space when we get there. Maybe we'll box that in to hide the... You showing my wad.
No.
What are you doing down there?
I was gonna put my cigarette down.
Well, we don't smoke on this channel.
Oh, well, here.
Well, you just stay back there in the back. Put it down there. Don't put it over in the wood pile. There you go. We'll deal with that when we get there, but the chassis is square. Now, I did, if you look right down here, I got a tack weld there. Once I got my measurement all done, I strapped it together so I could get a nice tight squeeze, and I got a tack weld over here. Now I'm going to burn a good piece of the top end on both sides, and I split this off camera when my battery was charging, and I'm going to squeeze that out with some vice grips and get that to tuck tight in against this side of the chassis so we can weld that. And then we'll put a plate in that gap, close that in. And we'll do the same over here and that spot right here. Ginger is a dog lover. She's like, less rat rods, more dog. I'm gonna let Ginger go in the house and play with her puppy. The dogs, by the way, I mean. And
Hi, Rush. What you doing, Rush? Hi, Rush. You say hi? Can you say hi, Rush? Oh, hold on. Say hi. Wiggles. Hi. Oh, hi, Ma. Hi, my doll. That's so cute.
so anyway, I'm over here. I'm the Westman. This is my garage.
But those are puppies.
So anyway, that is that. I'm gonna take that back from Ginger. She's now shining at the floor again.
No, it's on you.
And I'll get you guys set up and you guys can see me doing some welding. It is...
I thought you were done talking.
Did you hear me say break?
No.
That's our key word for like the next segment or a screw up. Yeah, break. So if you ever catch that, break.
That's why.
That's what you know we're doing. We're about to edit. That's what it means. Anyway, I'll get you guys set up and you guys can see me burn some of that in. It's a little after 10.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And so I'm going to work out here probably another hour or two and then wrap it up for the night. But I want to take those little jack stand deals off over there and get this wrapped up. I want it to be a roller again.
Break.
All right, guys, I'll be back in a sec. My wife is nuts. My camera is doing a funny thing, and I'm just looking at it for a second to see if it's going to shut off. Okay, I'm going to get a couple of more beads of weld up on the top here so I can take that strap off. Go. You'd think that fell off 3 times when I was trying to put it on there. You'd think I'd be able to shake it off, but no! Isn't that a Taylor Swift song? Shake it off. Now, what I'm going to do now is I zip cut that. I am going to try to get a clamp. Oh, right there it is. And I'm going to fold this out against this frame rail so I can get some weld on there. I might have to see if I can hit that with a hammer or get a C-clamp that I can draw it in better. I can't squeeze that. Should be able to draw that. Yeah. I'll show you. I'll bring you over to this angle once I get that cranked out. That's going like I wanted it to. I'm going to go back in with it and slide it up some. See if I can get it right up at the top. Yeah, that'll be better. Okay. You see how I'd sliced that while my battery was charging. Sliced it along the top and then squeezed that over. So I can lay a bead of weld down there. I will cut a piece to lay up on there, fill that in. Once I get a bead in there so it stays, I'll get the grinder out and shorten that up. That should hold that. Yeah, I like it, I like it, I like it. Now I brought that piece that was sticking up down flush with the frame. Now I can fill that in. Then I'll be able to cut a piece, fill that triangular opening. Okay. That's what I'm gonna do. cut it down, trimmed it, took the paint all off of it, and it fits right in there. I'm tangled in my own cord. The gap is gone. It's closed in. We're gonna do the same thing over there. Once we clean those up, it's gonna be awesome. Box the front, box the back, and then when we get ready to roll this thing up on its side, we'll go ahead and get the bottoms. But before the patch and after. Getting excited. All right, hey, I thought I had it on high speed, but I did not. I did something without you. I didn't do it to the other side yet, just on the driver's side. So I will make sure that I've got you on board for that side. But I got that boxed in on the front, on the driver's side. I had a corner piece of steel and I cut it out. So there's no weld right there because that is a corner. So it comes across on the bottom, up the side, around, down. Again, I'm gonna have to do the bottom when I get the chassis up so I can get to the bottom. I'm happy with that. Before I'm done, I do have some plate that I'm going to make a bit of a fish plate for that on both sides. Do one on the bottom as well. Still got a long ways to go, but we're getting it. I'm glad you guys are here with me. Pretty impressed. I think it's coming along just fine. That's what it's starting like, and that's how it's gonna end. All right, guys, I'm gonna step in right here, and this is where we're gonna end Ratgasm Part 6, because I don't want to get in too long. Plus, I've got to talk to the West man over there. He's just way out of control. So make sure you guys tune in to Ratgasm Part 7 and check out the West man and what he's got going on with this whole thing. But for now, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and make sure that you like, share, subscribe. Subscriptions are free all week, no charge at all. I'll see you soon right here on his One Stall Garage.